Alright, bro, let's go!
Hello and welcome to a rather late Transformers Masterpiece review by me, Chris McLeod, aka Diagnostik80, brought to you by In Demand Toys. On this edition of the world's leading YouTube review show, and by leading I mean trailing in the distance, crying while all the other shows advance merrily to the sound of their money machines.
So I bought a money machine, and it goes
I will be looking in depth at the history behind a character with a name that sounds like someone is running naked across a Brazilian beach in the middle of the day. Sunstreaker. This one is going to be fun, as he has a pretty interesting history and quite a few toys to look at and all. Oh yeah, and I'll be stuffing a review in at the end for Masterpiece MP-39 Sunstreaker as well, because that's really what you were here for over a year ago. Let's get streaking.
What the hell are you doing?
We're streaking!
Let's go back to the days before the Transformers were released and venture into a year that I have adopted into my own online moniker because I was born in it. 1980. The year that saw the Iran-Iraq war kick off and the Iranian embassy siege thwarted by the SAS, but it wasn't all about Iran. Ronald Reagan became the 40th President of the United States of America, Mount St. Helens erupted in Washington, I was born, the Pac-Man arcade game was released, and we had Empire Strikes Back and Superman 2 tearing up the movie theatres in a sequel-tastic summer. Not only that, but I was born, and in Japan, a company called Takara were releasing toys under the brand Diaclone. And I was born. This toy line grew over a couple of years, and in 1982 we started seeing changing robots with alt modes of realistic present-day vehicles in the Car Robots subline. The first of his kind was the #1 Countach LP500S Super Tuning Lamborghini that was released in red and then again in the #3 Countach patrol car type as a filthy pig wagon. I jest, I mean Rosarola or Fuzz car. Anywho, Hasbro considered this the first ever transforming car-to-robot toy ever designed, but it should be noted that this first toy was based on the Cosmo Countach from 1978 in the Takara Microman line, albeit its transformation was very basic and doesn't quite fully achieve the robot part of the process. Either way, they yoinked him for their own nefarious needs for the rollout of their own line, the Transformers, in 1984, in a new yellow colour scheme and under a new name, Sunstreaker. Now, a lot of speculation has surrounded the Transformers releases of Sunstreaker and Sideswipe, as it appears their decos and bios were swapped around at the last minute. So basically, the Diaclone version of Sunstreaker was only ever released in the red and police decos, and the Diaclone version of Sideswipe was available in red, black and yellow colour schemes. He also has 2 red decals on his shoulders that originally covered up the black on the red Diaclone version. These decals remain on the Transformers version. The confusion arises when you look at their Transformer toy bios. It would appear that the actual written descriptions for both bots are incorrect, but work better the other way around. Sideswipe's bio mentions a rocket backpack, which works with Sunstreaker's engine that ends up on his back, and it also mentions that he has powerful pile drivers for arms, when again, it makes more sense when looking at Sunstreaker's design. Even the shoulder-mounted rocket boosters on Sunstreaker would make sense as the pile driver heads themselves. Also, in a profile from the Transformers Universe comic, Sunstreaker bemoans Sideswipe's rear-mounted engine in his automobile mode, suggesting it spoils his brother's design, despite the fact that it is he who has that design, not Sideswipe. To cap it all off, evidence came to light recently when a legal licensing document between Hasbro and Takara emerged, suggesting that the #1 Lambo was going to be unchanged and the number 15 was going to be yellow. Changes were clearly made at the last minute, and whatever the evidence suggests, we ended up with a yellow Sunstreaker with red bits on him and a weird bio. He was sold every year until 1986 on his own and in a multi-pack with Skids and Buzzsaw in 85, as well as this Transform block. Yeah, that happened. The original mould got its final release in 1990 as a Classic Heroes Transformer, and nothing again for 13 years. 13 years. After which, we get a steady stream of Sunnies in 2003 with the Universe release, Binaltech and Alternator in 2005, Universe, Henkai Henkai, and a cheeky little robot hero with Galvatron in 2008. A Creo release on his own, and then again in the Creon class of 1984 set in 2014. A Q-Transformer, Generations, and a Loyal Subjects chase figure in 2015, in a Unite Warriors Convoy Grand Prime set, and now finally, this awesome Masterpiece toy in 2017. Oops, spoilers, you didn't know he was awesome just yet. As a character, he is twin brosophenes with Sideswipe and thinks so highly of himself that it borders on narcissism. Vain, arrogant and sociopathic, he struggles to get along with any of his fellow Autobots with the exception of his bro, and is kept around because of his skills on the battlefield. He's been a major player in most iterations of the brand and was beaten to within an inch of his life as the Gladiator of Cybertron in the UK comics thanks to Megatron, and would have been killed had it not been for Optimus Prime in the Story State games. Early on in the Autobot-Decepticon War, he was a member of the Magnificent Six, an Autobot infiltration team made up of Inferno, Jazz, Prowl, Stampede, Wheeljack, and of course Sunstreaker. He was also one of the Autobots that crashed on Earth in the Ark originally, and has been through the wars, literally. Shockwave destroyed his body, and his remains were strung up from the ceiling of the Ark to make a point. He was repaired again, only to be damaged again, then fixed, actually killed, and then finally brought back to life before the end of the Marvel run. He was reasonably regular in the cartoon. I'm not talking about his toilet exploits, but you get what I mean. He was in a number of episodes without really doing too much, and somehow magically appears in 2 places at once during the animated movie. Both on the ground near Autobot City helping Cup and others move a roadblock, viewing Hot Rod shooting at the Autobot ship full of Decepticons, and then later helping to pilot the reinforcement shuttle a few scenes later. Magic. Better late than never, right? Only about a year in the making, this one. Crazy. This beauty for some reason took a back seat with everything else I was doing, and then it seemed pointless to do one, but hey ho, I've decided to pull it out of the fire, and damn, he's gorgeous. You can see his sexy box in the background, the usual Takara fare here. You get a little chip chase with his wheelchair, which he can come out of, but he is in a fixed seated position in order to replicate the scene in the episode Roll For It, when he sits on Sunstreaker's shoulder. I really wish the MP humans were more articulated and just generally practical, but on the whole, it's the only thing that bugs me about the toys. I feel like Mask, Starcom, Dino Riders, etc. have all managed to have very cool action figures at a smaller scale, and I know these guys are a lot smaller, but I would imagine the idea to be very much the same. He comes with 2 weapons, 2 extra smiling and shouting faceplates, and that evil alien robot mask, which I will explain in more detail shortly. Sunstreaker also gets an extra set of wing mirrors, his paperwork, which consists of one of those Japanese QR codes that probably shuts the government down, maybe, his scorecard, which isn't that impressive at all, and his instructions that doubles as a tablecloth if you're hard up, but maybe you should have thought about that before spending hard cash on this toy. Then we have Sunstreaker himself in his default yellow Lamborghini Countach sexiness, and as a side note, I'm saying Countach because that is the proper way to pronounce it, even though I've always called it Countach. What a striking and beautiful piece of plastic this is. In car mode and straight out of the box, we can open the doors using the fake door handles to help with that process, you can pop the lights by pushing the buttons underneath, and you can have the boot/trunk and bonnet/hood all open like one of those micro machines back in the day. I believe the boot/trunk is located in the front of the Lambo, by the way, just in case you were quadruply confused with my unnecessary use of both UK and US terminology. Staying in car mode for the time being, and we find that he has 2 looks. By making a few adjustments, you can hide all of the chrome pieces so he becomes a standard factory fresh Countach. Just like I used to have back in the day. In micro machine form, of course. And you can switch his rear tail lights around for either real life or toon accurate rear ends. Still in car mode because the features on this one are numerous. You can mount either gun between the chrome engines like so to make him less intimidating, and you can store his electron pulse gun, or the dark grey one as I like to refer to it as, but only after some extreme FNAFing. Lift the doors and move the 2 side pieces away from the car, lift the bonnet/hood, in this case because it's a back to front car, and pop the folded weapon in that section in the middle. Once flush, you can close the bonnet hood trunk boot, push the 2 sides back and then close the doors. Pretty neat, but the extra clipping and unclipping seems unnecessary when you would think that the boot trunk hood bonnet could just flip open, but I guess that's the balance if you want the vehicle mode to stay sturdy and locked together. Doesn't bother me that much, just an observation here. The final feature in car mode, I know right, is the anti-aircraft laser cannon. By splitting the chrome spoiler and folding them like so, you can get at the yellow cannon hidden in the body of the car, and voila! Now you can be like Sunstreaker in the episode More Than Meets the Eye Part 2. Bum gun. Okay, let's get into his robot mode now, but first I have to transform him very fast on screen and very f***ing slowly in reality.
Autobots, transform and roll out!
That took me about 22 minutes give or take, plus I was looking at the instructions off screen, which is super awkward, so it's not too bad. Given a more comfortable situation and a few back and forths, and that will become a lot easier. In this glorious robot mode, he is gorgeous. The design is straight off the screen and so striking in that bright yellow. The overall look is solid and the back kibble is even cool. The head is so iconically Sunstreaker, which helps I guess. The flared yellow earpieces are so weird but just work for this character, and the grey colour breaks allow for that yellow to be balanced out. The windows and windscreen are just so pretty in that opaque tealy green colour, and interestingly enough aren't the same piece in both modes, as he has a fake hidden chest panel that appears in the transformation. The 2 extra faceplates allow for multiple display options and are fairly easy to switch out as you would expect. He holds his 2 weapons just like 80% of all MPs hold theirs, but I will show you anyway. Once again, lots of options for display here, and he also comes with his alien costume mask as seen in the G1 episode, Hoist Goes Hollywood. Hoist, Carly and Spike stumble onto a movie set, Hoist helps save some stuntmen, and subsequently gets offered a job on the film. A number of Autobots, including Sunstreaker, find out and muscle their way onto the set, eventually pushing their way into acting roles. The director gives them all masks so they can become giant evil alien robots. It's a cute addition in this set, but I probably won't be displaying him with it on necessarily. That said, I love these additions to the MP releases. The little homages and accessories really help to make these toys an absolute joy to play with and display. The level of detail that is put into the little things are really what makes it for me. That and the absolutely insane level of quality in the engineering and design, but whatevs. Another fun feature is his ability to store his foldable electro-pulse gun in his lower leg like so. As you can see, it pegs in here and closes to be revealed when under a Decepticon attack. The flare gun can also be stored on his back like so, and this is something I love when a figure can store all of their weapons. Great job. Overall, I'm in love. Even with Megs, a reissued Prime and Starscream, multiple Beast Wars characters and even a repaint of this very character, he is still just in the lead for my fave MP so far. I know, and it took me this bloody long to review him. What's up with that? His absolute bad looking car mode is stunning and so iconic. The Countach is the quintessential 80s penis extension and will take some beating to be topped for recognisability. Is that a word? Google seems to think so, I'll roll with it. The fact that you can have multiple car modes as well as a robot mode with multiple display options really helps in pushing this one to the top. He is just so bloody cool, which is funny because if he were real you wouldn't want him knowing that. 2017 was a pretty solid year for original G1 masterpieces, but it did slow down considerably in 2018. So here's hoping we get that awesome looking Hound this year at some point. With the new update to Prime and the possible new Bumblebee on the horizon, I'm starting to doubt we will see any other G1 based fringe characters appearing this year. Hopefully we will get some reveals soon for the huge amount of outstanding characters yet to be done, like Jazz, Trailbreaker, Hoist, RC, the Mini-Bots, Springer, to name but a few. Fingers crossed and inserted. Unfortunately, due to the fact that this video is over a year late, my bad, there are currently no Sunstreakers in stock at In Demand Toys, but do check out their awesome site anyway at idtoys.co.uk for a bevy of other lovely Transformers masterpieces, and of course an utter crap ton of other wonderful brands and products. Thank you for watching this rather long and totally outdated video. I hope you can find it in your hearts to forgive me. Next up, MP1 Prime. I'm kidding, of course.